Thank you. Let's start with Mashala. When you approached him with a request to attend an identification parade, what did he say?
My lord, I think he said 50-50. He said it happened a long time ago, but if I try to recall his statement, he said something to the effect that he's not sure. I think he may have used to say 50-50 because it happened some time ago.
Thank you. What did Mthokozisitwala say?
I think he said also he's not certain, my lord. There was no refusal to say they can't identify, they were just not certain, my lord.
Thank you. And you are saying the reason why you did not go to Longwe is because in Longwe's phone there were some downloads or some photos of bags of money that were similar to the downloads that were found in accused number 3's bag. Therefore, you decided to exclude Longwe on those bases.
I'm not sure if you say like I said, my lord, it was prosecutorial driven. It was not unilateral decision. At that stage, we were working hand in glove with the prosecution, my lord, and you get guidance.
Uma uthi-ke kwakuyimina-ke lokho kushoyo ukuthi-ke isizathu sokuthi ngingayike kulombe ngoba-ke isinqumo sathatha ngoba-ke kwakunalesi sikhwama semali esasitholakala nakuyena makhalekhukhwini number 3 ngishilo ngathi-ke kwakuwukukhulumisana nokubonisana-ke nalabo-ke abashukisayo.
So are you then saying that yourself, with the 3 prosecutors, were of the view that it is not necessary for you to approach Longwe to find out if you'll be able to identify any of the accused person?
I beg your pardon, my lord, sorry, I didn't understand the question. My apologies, I didn't follow the question, my lord. If it can be repeated, sorry.
Brigadier Gininda, the reason why you are unable to follow my questions, I'm talking here and then you're busy doing something, you're paging through your documents there. If you can just listen to me, and then from there, you'll be given indulgence to look for whatever that you're looking for. For now, can you please listen to my question?
Yes,
thank you. My question is, are you then saying that it was your decision, yourself and the team of prosecutors, that you should not approach Longwe because in his phone there were some photos that were found which were similar to those that were found in accused number 3's phone downloads?
I'm saying, my lord, the authority to guide investigation, especially when NPA is involved, lies with the NPA. That's the ultimate authority.
Ngithi-ke engikushoyo mina ukuthi-ke igunya-ke lokuthi-ke uma ukuthi uphenyo luhamba kanjani-ke kwi-NPA ilabo-ke abashushisayo.
Thank you, Brigadier. I'm saying to you, we are going to simplify this thing. And it's going to be very tedious, but very simple. With regard to Mr. Mashala, he said to you, he's unsure whether he'll be able to identify these people. It was a 50-50 situation.
Yes.
With regard to Mr. Twala, you said, Mthokozisitwala now, you said, he told you that he was not certain. It was also a 50-50 situation. Now, with regard to Mr. Longwe, I'm asking you the same question. Now you are saying the decision lies with the NPA. Is that your answer to my question?
No, I'm saying the ultimate authority, my lord, when it comes to prosecution, is NPA. What I'm saying is that because the matter was prosecutorial driven, you get guidance and you were then guided as to who you can utilize for what purpose. And I gave reasons, my lord, as to why there were question marks or uncomfortability that Mr. Longwe Twala specifically could be used. There was this part that needed investigation because you can't ignore the fact, my lord, that there's a person who is alleged to be one of the perpetrators, whom upon the downloading of the phone, a see-through bag of money is found, and that bag is found with someone who's supposed to be a witness. You can't ignore that material fact. You need to investigate and establish the position of this. So this person is supposed to be a witness in relation to this now alleged perpetrator. You can't rely on that because that is already setting a mark. You can't ignore the fact that they're saying one of the person who's supposed to be a witness is a trigger point. You need to investigate. That's how objectivity is done. And you can't ignore what I've said about the matter as well. So it was those aspects, my lord, that I know played a role in our discussion with the NPA. But what I'm saying is that at the ultimate, which is the same as well when I try to get a warrant for Ms. Kelly Kumalo, the ultimate decision makers is the NPA. Our powers are divided clearly, my lord.
Engikushoyo-ke la ukuthi-ke isinqumo-ke sokuthi-ke kwenzekani-ke ingakho ngithi ke igunya ke likuyona ke NPA labo ke abashushisayo ke ingakho ke ngisho ke ukuthi ke ibona ke uma sikhulumisana sibonisana ke abashoyo ukuthi ke uyabani awuyi kubani ke ukhulumisana nobani ukhulumisana nobani nomuntu lana ke sikhuluma ngayo longo thwala okufanele ukuthi abe ufakazi kodwa ke lana kunomuntu omunye wabantu abakhonjwayo ukuthi ke ibona ke abenza isigameko lesi kuma downloads akhe kutholakala lelisaka lenemali naku yena ke lo okuthiwa ufakazi kuyatholakala awukwazi ke ukuthi ungashaya indiva ke lokho iloko engikushilo ke nangaye uma Kumalo kanye futhi ke nangenkathi ke ngenza isicelo lesiya sokuboshwa kwakhe uMs Kumalo ngishilo ke ukuthi ke isinqumo sabuya kuphi.
Thank you. That is exactly what I'm bringing to you. That because of all those factors that you have now enumerated, yourself and the team of prosecutors who were guiding you then took a viewpoint that it was not necessary to go and request and talk to Mr. Longe about an identification parade, not so?
A decision, yes, was taken, my lord. I'm not sure if that way not necessary, but the decision was taken that he should not be approached for the identity parade.
Isinqumo sathathwa ke sona ke ukuthi ke angayiwa ke lo ngothwala ukuthi ke kuyokhulunywa ngaye mayelana ke nokuyokhomba noma i-ID parade.
Thank you, Brigadier. Now, let's come to Kumalo, the mother of the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Why, like Madlala and Mtogozisi, Twala, was she not approached for a possible identification parade immediately after the arrest of the 5 accused persons that are before court here?
Well, my lord, so, and I've said this, my lord, at the inception, rather at the beginning, when I was not involved in this matter, back in 2014, I think it might be LS 2014. Yes, I think it was in 2014. There was an ID parade that was held where one suspect, Mr. Mbata, was actually identified by Kumalo Senior. And I know that was the fact that actually was concerning as to whether we can utilize her in light of that or not. And that person, my lord, as I've said, it's not something that is hidden, was arrested, placed into custody, detained. I think the matter was remanded for formal bail application when evidence then came through that is actually it could not have been one of the perpetrators.
Ngokumayelana naye ke uma Kumalo ukuthi kwangani ke ukuthi yena ke uyokhulunyiswa ke mayelana nayo ke iparade lena ke ngishilo ukuthi ngaphambilini kokuthi ke ngiphenye icala leli kwakungo 2014 ukuthi ke kune ID parade yayikhona ke la uma Kumalo wakhomba khona ke ngicabanga ukuthi babumbatha ke waye eseboshwa ke uma kuzokwenza isicelo sayo ke ibail lapha ngofakazi obeza khona ukuthi cha kwangasiyena ke.
So what does that have to do with a request to go for an identification parade in respect of this accused person that you just arrested?
I don't understand, my lord. You have a person who has identified a wrong person, and that person gets arrested, his constitutional right is deprived, sits in jail, and thereafter it is found that he's a wrong person. I'm not so sure whether Advocate Mnisi says you can still rely on that particular witness, if I understand him correctly, which I doubt if that's what he's saying, my lord.
Angazi noma umbuzo lo ngizwa kahle ke ngoba la unomuntu noma ufakazi ke manje uhambile wayokhomba umuntu kwatholakala ukuthi ecala umuntu amkhombile akusiyena ke umuntu lona ke manje usenqatshela noma usevinjwa ke amalungelo akhe ke wahamba wayohlala esitokisini kwatholakala ukuthi ecala umuntu akusiyena ke so angazi noma ngizwa kahle ke noma uma esho ukuthi uMr Mnisi usungaphinde futhi uncike kufakazi onjalo.
Thank you, Brigadier. To understand you, you're saying that you were afraid that Mrs. Kumalo would have attended the identification parade and said, no, the person who resembles the person, one of the people who resembles one of the people who got into the house, I had already identified him at the initial identification parade, and he is not one of these that are appearing at this identification parade, referring to this accused person that are before court. Were you afraid of that?
No, my lord. No, I was not afraid of that. My lord, when you do investigation, and this is how I understand it, it's at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter where the truth lies, my lord. If the truth is at the behest or at the interest of the suspects, you need to reveal it. But you cannot flout rules and do something that you can see that it's not in the interest of justice in general. Now, Mrs. Kumalo Senior, I've already said, my lord, what has happened. How do you then, my lord, subject a person whom you are pursuing as a suspect to such environment? I think that will be unethical, my lord. You have a witness which you know because it's proven, it was before my time, that this person identify a particular suspect because of that identification is then arrested, remanded into custody. When the police do a constructive investigation, they find out what was said to be the perpetrator is actually incorrect and that person is released. How do you then, as an objective person and investigator, my lord, want to subject another person who is suspected to be a perpetrator to that situation? I think it will not be in the interest of justice, even for the accused. So it was not just an isolated situation that I'm afraid of what he must say. Even the accused or the suspect himself, to expose that particular suspect to such an individual will be unethical and I think very much wrong. You can't do that, my lord.
Bese ngikhulumile noma ngishileke udaba noma ukuthi kwenzekani ke ngaye ke uma Kumalo ngaphambili kokuthi mina ke ngiholeke ithimba eliphenyayo ke lana hayi nje ukuthi ke lokho kwenzeka mina ke kodwa ke nakubona ke abasola noma ke abantu laba kufanele ke ayobakhomba ke ukwenza kanjani ukuthi ke umuntu ayokhonjwa ke umuntu osekhombe umuntu kwatholakala kulo muntu akhombile ukhombe umuntu ekungasiyena ukuzotholakala ukuthi ke kwenza into ke engafanelekile uma wenza ngaleyo ndlela.
Look at the Gininda.
So sorry, my lord, just to complete this point here. Sorry, Mr. Mnisi, sorry to speak over.
Thank you.
So it is different, my lord, when perhaps, let's say a person is identified on the ID parade, but there are no consequences after it. In other words, investigation is done and the person is, is eliminated. But when a person is identified, then subsequent to the identification, then the person loses his freedom or have freedom in terms of incarceration because of the reliance on that identification. I think it will really be unjust if you want to subject, I wouldn't want to do that, another person to the same environment with the hope that this person now may not point this person, because what happens then if you point this person and then it turns out later in the investigation that you are sitting with a similar situation, my lord?
Futhi ke manje ke okwenzekayo ke lo muntu sekhombile ke batholakala ukuthi umuntu amkhombile akusiyena ke uyaphinda ke futhi sekuboshwe abanye ke uzokhomba futhi utholakale uma sekuhamba isikhathi ke ukuthi ke kwenzeke kona lokho ebekwenzekile ngaphambilini.
Thank you, Brigadier. Should that not have been left to Ms. Kumalo to say, I don't think I'll be able to identify anyone at the identification or at the proposed identification parade, or to say, maybe this time I'll be able to identify one of the perpetrators who got into the house than for you to think for her.
I wasn't, so my lord, as I've said again, it was not my sole decision. The prosecution was involved. But to come back to the question, my lord, when you look at the interest of justice, that's not how Iglesias was taught, my lord. Interest of justice applies both sides. You don't look at Kumalo only and ignore the rights of the people you are pursuing. That is why I'm saying, my lord, even if evidence was to come up that supports the suspect at that stage, you need to make it available. And if they're exonerated, so be it, my lord. That is the systematic search for the truth. So I couldn't, and I'm talking about me, place myself in a position where I must subject this accused to a situation which I think would have been unjust based on what I already know has happened, my lord. I don't think that would be constitutionally correct, my lord.
Nanjengoba lokho bese ngitshilo ke ukuthi ke bese kwenzeke kanjani ke uma ukuthi iqiniso kufanele liyaphuma ke awubheki nje iqiniso ke elizovuna wena ke uma iqiniso livuna labo ababoshiwe noma abasolwa ke lelo qiniso kufanele livezwe ke noma lidalulwe ke manje ke akusiyona ke indlela engafundiswa noma engaqeqeshwa ngayo ke mina ke awukwazi ke manje ukuthi ke nalabo abasolwa kwenzeke lokho ebese kwenzekile khona noma bese kwenzekile ngaphambilini kwenziwa uyena uMakhumalo.
Thank you. Now, to exclude Ms. Kumalo in the participation of a possible identification parade was not because she could not identify, she told you that she could not identify a person, but it is because of the fact that she had already identified a wrong person in another identification parade, and that therefore the decision was taken by yourself and the prosecution team not to approach her with a possible identification parade. In summary, is that what you're saying?
In summary, the decision was taken not to approach her.
Thank you.
Kafishane nje bathatha ke isinqumo sokuthi kungayiwa ke yena ke ngenhloso yokuthi ke ayokho.
Thank you. Zandi.
Yes.
What reasons were given by Zandi, or did you approach Zandi?
We spoke to Ms. Zandi, my lord.
Yes. Yes. About an identification parade.
No, about the case.
I'm talking about identification parade.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Can
yes.
you just be patient with me?
Thank you.
I'll get there. I know you want to get to that parade. I can see you are eager. I'm getting there.
Because it is very interesting.
Yes, I'm getting there.
Yes.
I know you want me to go there very quickly.
Yes.
So yes, my lord, she was approached, but the position as well, insofar as whether we can use it for the ID parade, as I said, it's guided by the prosecution. That decision was never communicated to me, my lord. But we had interaction with Ms. Zandi. Quite a lot, including the consultation. The only thing that I can cite that was perhaps needed some clarity, and I'm not casting aspersion because we tried to look into it, my lord, and we couldn't find anything, was and we dealt with these records last week when I was under, last week or week before last, when I was under cross-examination by Mr. Ramsipil, where he made me read the communication between Zandi and the sister, and those communications of what was being said, I mean, they speak for themselves. So there was this clarity that, you know, one was not sure as to whether, because if you listen to those communications, it is clear what is being said there between her and the sister. So that was a question mark, my lord, as to how far could this person know, honestly. But that, my lord, and this is the fundamental part, does not take away the fact that they were intruders. It is a different position insofar as the motive or the trigger point. But insofar as Ms. Zandi Kumalo, that was a question mark, to be honest, my lord.
Ngicabanga ukuthi-ke nkathi-ke bengihlonywa imibuzo kuyena-ke Mr. Ramsipile kunale milayezo-ke noma kama-SMS befundwa-ke la enkantolo-ke ey'ngxoxo-ke zazikhona-ke phakathi kwakhe-ke uMz Zandi Kumalo kanye naye-ke usisi wakhe-ke ayayikhulumela-ke lawo ma-message lawo-ke ukuthi-ke kuthiwani-ke noma yini eshiwoyo-ke khona lapho. Ngakho-ke ngokuqala naye-ke uMz Zandi Kumalo yayikhona-ke imibuzo-ke noma-ke ama-question mark ayekhona-ke.
Brigadier Gininda, please help me to understand your answer. What is the reason why you did not approach Zandi for a possible identification parade after the arrest of these 5 people that are before court here? Just a very precise answer.
The precise answer, my lord, is that one, same with the others, there was the decision taken that she should not be approached for the purpose of the ID parade, although there was interaction between us and Ms. Zandi Kumalo. But insofar as the ID parade, that was not the position that was taken. But I'm saying, my lord, to support that, there was this question mark in terms of the communication between her and the sister as to what extent did she know, to be more precise, my lord. And I'm simply saying it was not coming from nowhere, my lord.
Engikushoyo-ke ukuthi lana-ke yebo kwakukhona-ke ukukhulumisana-ke phakathi kwethu-ke kanye naye-ke uMs Zandi Kumalo, kodwa-ke akungekho-ke okwashiwo kumina-ke ukuthi-ke noma-ke bathathwa-ke isinqumo sokuthi cha angakhulunywa-ke naye-ke noma acelwe-ke mayelana nayo-ke i-ID parade. Bese ngiqhubeka-ke ngithi-ke kwakukhona-ke lokho le communication yayikhona phakathi kwakhe nosisi wakhe-ke, manje kukhona-ke ukuthi noma lama-question mark ayekhona-ke kungaziwa-ke ukuthi wazi noma wayenolwazi olungakanani.
But I can say, my lord, sorry, Mr. Minister, I can say that up to today, there is no evidence that I was able to find that implicated or give an indication that she may have known about, you know, the trigger point of this matter, my lord. I did not find. Up to standing here, I don't have any assertion or evidence that suggests that she knew that the deceased will be killed or that there are people hired, my lord, except that discussion, my lord.
Kodwa-ke kuze kube manje nanjengoba ngimileke lana anginabo ubufakazi angaze ngitholeke ubufakazi ukuthi unolwazi noma wayenolwazi-ke lokuthi-ke umufi wayezoshona noma kwakunabantu-ke abatholwa-ke ukuthi-ke ababulale umufi, akukho enginako.
I'm done, yes,
Thank you, Brigadier. Now, very precisely to understand your answer, you are basically saying, like Longwe Twala, there was no specific instruction that came from the prosecution team that you should approach Zandi for an identification parade after the arrest of this accused. So?
No. A decision was not to approach, my lord. So the people that we did not approach, because the decision was not, let's not approach them for the purpose of an ID parade. Those that I approached, those two are the ones where there was a decision to say you can approach them for the identity parade. That is why, my lord, then the statements in relation to their response was then taken. For example, Mr. Twala, his statement was dated 25 October 2020. So it was even before they appeared in court, where he was talking to this issue of the identity parade, because one would have wanted to do that before the court appearance, my lord. And I think with Madala, we may be sitting more or less around that date. But for Mr. Twala, it was before even the first court appearance, my lord.
Okwenzeka-ke ukuthi-ke isinqumo sathathwa-ke kulabo babili uMadlala kanye noMthokozisi ukuthi akiweke kubona-ke ngenhloso-ke yokuthi ikhulunywe nabo-ke ngayo i-ID parade. Nakulaba engayiwanga kubona-ke bathatha isinqumo-ke sokuthi cha akungayiwa noma kungakhulunyiswana nabo mayelana naso-ke isinqumo noma-ke udaba lokuthi kukiwe ku-ID parade. Ingakho khona-ke ney'tatimende lana zabo laba babili uMadlala kanye noThwala esikaThwala sona-ke isitatimende sami kwakungeyi-25 ka-October 2020 kwangaphambi kokuthi-ke abasolwa bayobingelela imanje enkantolo.
So you're basically saying the reason why you did not approach her, there was a specific instruction that came from the prosecution team that was leading this case that she should not be approached for an identification parade.
There was not a, you know, the way it's been put, my lord. What I can, how could I answer it? There was no decision that she should be approached for an ID parade. But Ms. Zandi Kumalo was interacting with me and the prosecution. So there was that communication and consultation that was taking place. But insofar as utilizing her as a witness in the identification parade, there was a decision taken that she should not participate or approach for that purpose, my lord. Not that not to approach it, because there was already engagement. That's why I'm saying the question, the way it's put, it's different where there is no interaction. There was interaction between us, subsequently the prosecution in terms of the consultation where a position was not taken that she must participate or be one of the people who will participate in the ID parade. That is the only aspect where she was excluded. Not that, I don't know if I'm putting it correctly, Manuel, but the point I'm going to is that there was no decision from the prosecution that she should be approached to attend or participate in the ID parade, as it was the position with Mr. Madlala and Mr. Twala Manuel.
Nanjengoba ke kuthwala ke naye ke uMadlala sasibona isinqumo sokuthi bona ke kuyiwe ke bona ngenjongo noma inhloso ke ID parade. Yebo yena sasikhulumisana naye uZandi Kumalo kodwa ke asikho isinqumo esabuya ke noma ke sathathwa ke ukuthi ke yena ke sikhulumisana naye ngayo iID parade uZandi Kumalo.
Thank you, Brigadier. You know the reason why I'm going through this exercise and basically wanting to understand you, what is it that you're actually saying? It's because at the end of it all, I'll be standing here, right where I am standing, requesting this court to follow my argument or to find that my argument makes sense, you see. So I'll then not be in a position to do that if I don't understand what you are saying. Because part of that argument that is going to come later on is going to touch base a lot on what you're saying. So don't look at me and say, hey, Kantumni Sutine, he's taking me from Pilato to Pontius. No, it is because I want to understand you. You are then therefore saying now, it is not that there was a decision that was taken that you should not approach Zandi by the prosecution team. There was no decision that was taken. Actually, it was just a silent thing. Nobody said approach her. Nobody said do not approach her. Is that what you're saying?
No, my lord, maybe my lord, so that is clear, and I hear what Mr.
Yes,
is saying.
yes.
Insofar as Kelly Kumalo, the mother, Zandi Kumalo, and Longwe, Twala, there was no decision from the NPA to say we must approach them for the purpose of the identity parade. That's the simple and narrow of it. Insofar as the two, Mr. Twala and Mr. Madlala, there was a decision taken that you can utilize this one for the purpose of the ID parade. Hence, my lord, when I went to them, they said 50-50 in terms of their recollection. And to that effect, they gave statements, my lord. That is, I think I'm trying to be as specific as I can.
Ngokumala naye ke uMakumalo uZandi Kumalo Kelly Kumalo noLongwe Twala ke asikho isinqumo esathathwa ukuthi akiwe kona mayelana ID parade isimelo Madlala umthoko sisithwala sasikhona ke ukuthi akiwe ke kubona bekhulunyiswana nabo ke ngayo ID parade ingabo ikhona ke nestatement zabo.
Now that sounds much better. At least I now know that with regard to Longwe, Makumalo, Zandi, and Kelly, there was no decision that was taken that they should be approached for a possible identification parade after these accused persons were arrested. That's so.
That is so, my lord.
Thank you. Thank you. Let us pause it there. My lord, I think it's almost time for lunchtime. For the long adjournment, it's exactly 13 hours. PM. PM stands for post-meridian. It means it's now in the afternoon, my lord. Yes. May I therefore request, in humble submission to God Almighty, my lord, that we can adjourn from now and then we'll be back to that will also serve the purpose to go to give Brigadier Gininda time to go and have a sip from the bottle that he's sipping from. As it is.